My name's Dave Ross. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been working for last 30 odd years and change in a variety of settings, private practice, obviously, but also in psychiatric emerge, doing high risk evals, psychiatric inpatient and outpatient, behavioral medicine. I did a stint in the addictions, working inpatient and outpatient. And finally, I worked at a occupational stress injury clinic that's operated by Veterans Affairs Canada. During the course of of my career, I've worked with both transdiagnostic and diagnostic measures. And what I'd like to do in the next couple of minutes is just share with you some of the highlights of how from my point of view, it's paid off. Both types of measure have provided me with a benchmark record of outcome fluctuations across the entire course of treatment. Now, this has paid off in a number of ways. It's helped me boost client self-confidence. I found that a lot of people that I've worked with at various points during therapy have had a real hard time remembering their successes. The nice thing about having the trajectory is that we just go back to the record, we explore it together. It also has sometimes helped me explore with my client some reasons why it looks like we may have stalled. Sometimes it looks like we aren't making progress. That can happen for various reasons, but again, we can just go back to the data and explore together. It's also been useful when I'm working as part of a care team. If we have the permission from the client, it's really helpful to be able to share the contents of the report so I can reconstruct to the team how the treatment has gone, why we made some of the decisions we made, and how those appear to have been reflected in the outcome so I can get the team's input. It's nice to have that common ground, and it's made for some interesting discussions in case conference. Now, the transdiagnostic measure has added value when doing treatment, just in generally helping us both keep our expectations in sync about duration. A lot of the clients that I've worked with have had more burden. They've had multiple presenting problems and all kinds of complications. And a lot of them have gone in there with very unrealistic expectations. They expect they're going to get better really quick. It's been helpful for them when they feel discouraged because of those expectations for us to go to the transdiagnostic measure and say, yeah, it's been a while, it's been a lot of sessions, but we're on track. The transdiagnostic measure that I have used also has the ability to signal me when it looks like a client is at risk of deteriorating severely or dropping out. Now, the next thing, that measure has also done a rapid assessment of the usual reasons why that can happen, and it provides me with that assessment as well, and right away, so that I have a chance to look at this stuff and reflect on it before I go into that critical session. And sometimes, that session, if I don't get that one right, they may terminate. Some lessons learned along the way about doing that kind of outcomes, not just outcomes monitoring, outcomes management. It has to be collaborative. I need to explain to the client what we're doing and why. I need to explain to them that unlike a lot of the tests that they do, I'm going to be repeating it, and I'm going to be asking them just to look at the time since I've seen them last, because otherwise they tend to respond to it as a trait measure, not a state. Another thing that I need to do, of course, is to show the results, preferably at the beginning of each session, because that's how they see that there's a point to this. That's what keeps it pertinent to them. It's important to use software. I've done it with paper and pencil. I've used Excel. When you have a dedicated software to administer, score, analyze, crunch, and provide you a very clean, tight, practical report, it makes all the difference. Because with the reports these days, you can get the information you need inside of about 45 seconds. I've needed to remind myself to encourage my clients to give me corrective feedback. I never realized how hard it was for them to tell me that that I'd done something that might have hurt them, or they just didn't see how therapy was really supposed to be helping them at that point. And finally, I had to keep reminding myself that bad things can happen even to the best therapists, and to the best clients, and to keep myself open to corrective feedback, because it can be a little uncomfortable sometimes. So that's the summary of my experience, and I really think that we're just at the beginning of this field. There's been an explosion of research in this area, and maybe you might want to look at participating in a practice-based research network. Thanks for your time.